for your time, Martin.
Anytime, man.
You know, firstly, big news, Bellator coming up soon. How did they approach you, you know, to join them?
I no idea. They don't approach me. The manager and coach, Colin Aaron, sorts everything like that out so I can just get on with training. Colin just rang me up, said, get your ass to the gym. I've got something to tell you, so I got my ass to the gym and he told me. It's just easier that way. Cole deals with everything.
Yeah.
I don't have to worry about nothing, then I can just get on with training and getting better as a fighter.
That's the best way.
Yeah.
And you know, on Bellator, it's how do you put it? How they do things over there with the tournament format of you know, if you win 4 fights, you're guaranteed a title shot, whereas other promotions might be like, you win 4 or 5 fights, you still don't get the title shot. So does it make it easier in training going into it, knowing if you win the 4 fights, you get that shot?
I suppose it depends on your personality and what you like. I mean, there's other organisations out there where you earn a title shot by gobbing off on the internet and becoming a Twitter celebrity or something, you know. If that's what you're into, then fine, but me personally, I like to be able to set myself goals and targets, and for me to be able to know that I've got 3 fights coming up now. I've got to obviously take each fight one at a time, but I know the ultimate goal is to win that 3rd fight and get me the world title fight and prove that I'm the best fighter in the world at 155 pounds. For me, that's what I like. I like to have a goal like that, so that works better for me. Yeah.
And it does seem a good way for him to do it.
So,
you know, especially like you say, you've got to be like Chael Sonnen or whatever. It does.
I mean, someone like Chael Sonnen, obviously, he does deserve title shots. He's been there, done it all, and, you know. But I just like this way of doing it. You fight your way there. You prove that you've earned the title shot. And if you get it, no one can dispute it. No one can ever say you just got it because you were gobbing off on Facebook or whatever. You know.
And the first one for you at Bellator, I'm going to say his name wrong, Syed Awad. I've never pronounced that before. You know, he seems to have a good record, fought in Bellator already 3 times.
Yeah.
You know, what are your thoughts on him?
I've no thoughts on him whatsoever. Again, I'll get into the cage and I'll do whatever Cole's told me to do. I'm not going to watch his fights. I'm not going to look at his record. I'm not going to do anything. Cole will tell me what I need to do, and I'll go in and I'll do it. I don't care. I have no opinion on the bloke, one way or the other. He's obviously a good fighter because he's got to where he's got, and he got to the final of the last tournament. But that's it. That's all. I don't care any more than that. I believe I can beat any man in the world at 155 pounds, and I believe Cole knows how to tell me to do it. So I just trust him, do what he tells me to, and that's it.
So it's just basically one fight at a time. No point looking to the future.
Well, no, I am looking to the future. I'm 100%. I'm focused on getting that title shot by winning this tournament, but I'm not actually looking at the fight and going, he's good at this, he's bad at that. I don't like to look at fights like that and say, oh, he's got better jiu-jitsu or this guy. It's just, to me, it's a fight. It's the whole thing. It's a fight. I'm going in there to beat him at a fight. I'm not going in there to be better at jiu-jitsu anymore. To beat him with my boxing or whatever. I'm going in to beat him in a fight. And like I said, the easiest way for me is to just concentrate on developing, getting better, and let Cole tell me what to do, and I trust him 100%, and whatever he says I need to do, that's what I'll do, and I'll win the fight. And
one could happen in the future. How would you feel about if it was you, Rob Sinclair? You know, obviously you'll still take the fight, but would it be strange, or is it like that mentality of he's just an opponent, we'll be friends after?
Me and Rob have spoke about this. You know, when he signed, he didn't know I was in the tournament. I signed, I didn't know he was in the tournament at the time. So we've spoken about it since. If it comes to the point where me and Rob have to fight each other, then we've both got the same goal. We're both aiming because we both believe. He believes he's the best 155 pound fighter in the world. I believe that I am, and we're both trying to prove it. And at the end of the day, if we both get to the final and we have to fight each other, then that's fine because that's what we're both chasing our dream. So how could we ever hold it against each other? As well as that, me and Rob, we're not just training partners or anything, we are friends, we're personal friends, you know, and our friendship is way stronger than that. Me and Rob can have a fight in a cage and then walk out later and give each other pick-up points on what we should have done better. So, you know what I mean? We'll shake hands after it, act professionally, and like I said, we're friends, we're not just training partners. We get on with it, it's life.
And that's the best way to do it, especially when you can learn more from friends. If someone's honest with you and says, oh, you did this wrong, you go
absolutely. If me and him end up fighting, like I said, we'll go out afterwards, we'll we'll hold no grudges whatsoever. We'll move on, and then he'll help me train for my next fight. I'll help him train for his next fight. That's it.
And you know, how good do you think that'd be? You know, if it was you, him, final. I don't know if you're on what side of the draw, but would you think that'd be good? You know, for UK MMA in America. You know, like they'd be like, you know, two Brits.
Of course it would. Of course it would. It'd be. If me and Rob Sinclair both got to the final, it'd be fantastic because we'd be two British lightweights proving that we're, you know, without question, up there with the top guys in the world. And then one of us would end up getting a world title shot, possibly making history as the first UK fighter to, you know, win a major world title.
And that's what we're all hoping for. That's what everyone's hoping for.
That's what we're both trying to do, yeah.
And with your, you know, training so far, I know you train at Team Cabon and here as well. You know, how, well, not the differences, but you know, how with a good setup here as well. How good is that for you, knowing you can come here and you've got this perfect setup? And
it's great, isn't it? What, you've had a walk around? You had a look around?
We've seen. I've not walked around yet, but it looks just from there.
I get to go over to Cowboy in the morning and I train over there, where it's an established gym with some of the best coaches in the world and some of the best fighters in the world, in my opinion. I get to train in there in the mornings with a shitload of pro fighters, get my ass kicked all over the place. Then I get to come back over here. We've got all our strength and conditioning stuff set up, so I can do my strength on. Then I get to work privately like Stanley Aspinall, you know. It works out good for me that way, yeah. It suits me.
And what's it, especially at Cabon, you know, when I interviewed you last, you know, you said about Paul Sass, what he taught you from the, because you lost him by Iron Boy, his famed
Triangle.
That's what Iron Boy Triangle. And then, you know, what's it like when you're there with him? Now, I know there won't be any tension between you, but
none at all. Nothing.
How much can you learn off him? You know, especially.
Well, everyone's seen Sass fight in the UFC. Look what he did. Michael Johnson just beat Joe Lozon, yeah, and he, let's be honest, he whooped Joe Lozon's ass. Paul Sass whooped Michael Johnson's ass, didn't he? You know, he made the guy look stupid on the ground.
Yeah.
There's guys like Paul Sass, Scannell, there's loads of guys that came on at that level of groundwork wrestling, strike. There's guys at that level in all aspects of MMA over there. So yeah, it's brilliant working with him all. Sass, roll with him on the ground, you're going to get tapped 3 or 4 times, and every time I get tapped I'll learn from it. So it's brilliant, yeah.
And that's the best way you can learn from it. If you don't learn, you don't get better.
I don't care. I couldn't care less if I got tapped 50 times in the gym, as long as I don't get tapped in my fights. That's the way I see it.
And plus nobody else sees it in the gym, so
yeah, I don't care if they do. I'm not here to impress no one apart from when I fight. You know, when I'm in the gym, I'm there to improve and get better. I don't care if that takes me. It means me getting tapped 50 times in an hour. As long as I learn every time I get tapped, I'm getting better. That's all I care about.
And how does that all help you when you're coaching here, or you know, does that help you as a fighter as well?
Yeah.
You know, when you you see it from a different side, don't you? So does that help you in your game?
I think so. Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, I think being able to coach the guys, we've got like probably 40 guys who come to our MMA classes. Not 40 all at once, but throughout the week there's probably 40 guys that rotate through the classes. So I get to watch 40 different body types, 40 different sets of body mechanics, 40 different shapes, 40 different frames. See how they all move, see what worked for that frame, what worked for this frame, and where I'm not actually just right here sparring with them, I'm stood back and watching them, so I can learn from it. I can learn from this guy's a bit taller, what's working for him. You know, I just feel that it helps me in a fight, it helps me develop my training, just to be able to watch them guys and work out problems for them and see why is that not working for him, and work out why it's not working, try and adjust it, then I'll put that into my memory bank as well.
And have you ever seen someone do something before, like say they do something wrong, I don't know, a combination or something, and you've gone, hold on, I've done that wrong, or you know, not done it wrong, but you've gone, hold on, I could change that in my game.
This morning, yeah. I was hitting pads with Cole this morning, and he was just adjusting one of my punches a little bit. I'm not talking about which punch.
Yeah.
he was adjusting one of my punches a little bit because I was my body weight in the wrong position. You know, he adjusted my feet for me a little bit, adjusted where I put my body weight, and when I'm hitting the pads, then literally in a couple of minutes my power's gone. For that shot's gone better than it was. I could come and bring that back now and show my guys, look, I was doing it like this, that was wrong, let's do it like this now.
And that is like the best way, because then they'll because some of them as well are fighting some of you guys at FCC.
Yeah.
You know, how are they all doing?
There's one of them there, Ollie's fighting.
I might send you some questions today. This is random. I'm getting off now. But you know, how are they all looking forward to it? Like from your point of view, how ready do you think they are? And
I wouldn't let them fight if I didn't think they were ready. It's not. I've told all the guys who fight here, I'm not the type of guy who's going to put my name on a fighter or put Nick James' name on a fighter just to satisfy their ego because they want to go out and have a cage fight. It ain't like that here. You got to put the work in. I'm not even going to match them up. You know, like some guys or whatever, some people, they'll get matched up for a fight and then they'll start training for it. Do you know what I mean? Because they've not been in the gym for 6 weeks, then they'll say, yeah, I've got a fight, so I've got to start training. I don't want to do that here. They're either training or they're not fighting. Simple as that. You know what I mean? So my guys are ready, 100%, and they will be for whatever fight you ever see me into. Yeah.
And on FCC, you know, you fought there before, and you know, what do you think about what they're doing? You know, they just seem to every event just seems to be getting better.
I know Adam personally. I've got on Adam, Jamie, the guys who are over there, and every show they impress me. They'll learn from the last show. They get better. As an amateur show goes in the UK, you can't really ask for more. I was speaking to someone earlier today about it. They're putting shows on where they're getting 1,000, 1,200 people in the crowd on an amateur show. Some of the pro shows aren't getting that over here in the UK. Some pro shows doing half of that number. So I think it's great.
Especially at I think the one, not this one before when I was there, but just as a fan, it was like you said about it was packed, and it's like, do you think that, you know, for amateur fighters going into that, obviously it's a good experience, but have you ever noticed if any of them get worried from it, you know, because if you're used to fighting...
I have noticed that, and some that I have noticed where, you know, some fighters might get then the realisation that they're fighting in front of such a big crowd hits them, and then, shit, this is real all of a sudden. But, in my opinion, that's down to their coaches and stuff to then take a step back from that and say, right, that fighter's had a problem because he's been fighting in front of so many, you know, such a big crowd and whatever. Let's go and find him some fights on smaller shows, get him built up a little bit, and then bring him back.
Yeah.
You know, because on the other sides of the scale is that amateur fighters get to fight in front of such a big crowd now. When they take it, if they go pro, they take a step up to Cage Warriors, Bama, and big shows like that. It's not going to be such a big shock to them because they're used to getting out in front of a big crowd. They're used to having all that pressure on them. So when they step up to these big shows, you know, they've already been in that situation.
And is that what it was like for you when you came up? How did you, when you first started, deal with it? You know, obviously, the more you do it, the more you learn to block the crowd out. But how did you first, you know, get from that nerves of thinking, I don't know if you did, but, you know, thinking, oh, there's so many people watching me, or was it just natural?
I didn't really have nerves, if I'm honest, mate. Not saying it's not necessarily a good or a bad thing, you know. Everyone's got nerves to a degree. I never have nerves about a fight, and I never have nerves about the crowd. Although obviously I want people to come and watch me fight because I want my fights to mean something, be important. I could care less what anyone thinks about me at any time, so I'm not going to go out there and worry about what the crowd thinks about me. I'm just not that sort of person. I'm going to go out there and fight regardless. So I never really had them issues, but some people do, some people don't. It's all an individual thing, isn't it?
Yeah. And one thing, you know, you told me I've been wanting to ask this when I interviewed you last time was when you said when you're in the Marines, you said if you shouted "put me" in a room full of PTIs, you said pain falls. What happened? What is that? It sounds like, you know.
Right, basically, in the Marine, well, if you're a PTI in the Marines, we've got a little thing where it's called self-policing. If you do something wrong, we've got an outdoor water facility, a freezing cold tank of water outside. It's about as big as this room, and it's freezing. In the winter, you've got to break the ice off it. And we do what we call self-policing. So if you make a mistake, or you mess up in whatever, or you do something that's not to the highest standard that we expect, you go and put yourself in the tank. Or throw yourself in the tank. Now, if there comes a point where I think you've done something wrong, and I bring it up to you and I say, I think you should get in the tank for it, if you don't think you should do, you can say, put me in the tank. At which point about 20 lads will dive on you and they'll get you in the tank one way or the other. Kicking or screaming, you will go in that tank, guaranteed. No matter how big you are.
It'll get me used to ice baths, I suppose, all that recovery time. That's crazy. But I know you said, you know, the time in the Marines, you know, you learned so much being surrounded by all that, and you wouldn't change anything, you know. Never. How does that impact you, you know, coming back training? Does it just, you know, being out there and does it just give you a different look on things, or is it just
I've tried to see it as I'm trying to be. I want to be a complete fighter. Yeah. Some people think being a complete fighter means you're good at wrestling, you're good at jiu-jitsu, and you've got some sort of stand-up art. I don't see it like that. I see MMA as just another part of me being a fighter.
Yeah.
Part of that was me going to war and being able to fight in real combat. Do you know what I mean? This is just another part of that fighting. So it's all my same goal. I want to be the best fighter on the planet. You know, being out fighting in a real war zone is part of that. So I don't separate the two things. It's all part of the same goal.
Yeah, it's like one thing.
The best fighter. Yeah.
You know, it sounds like quite an experience, especially with so much you've been through. I bet just going over to Bellator now just feels, like you said, just a fight.
I don't care. It could be in America in Bellator, it could be here, or it could be on the car park. I don't give a shit. It's a fight. The thing is here, I'm surrounded by people who think the same as me. Oggy's had 90 odd boxing matches, had a couple of MMA fights now, and he was in the Paris for 5-6 years. Do you know what I mean? He's been to war, he's experienced the same, so we can, you know what I mean? The guy who teaches one of our classes, Andy Tyson, he's the same. He's boxed, he's been in the Marines, he's been to Afghanistan, Iraq, so we're surrounded by guys who are all just as fucked up in the head, basically.
So when anybody new comes here to train, they know, you know you're going to become the best you can be. You know, like when you said so many people just come into gyms and they go, I want to fight MMA, and they'll go, alright, we'll get you a fight tomorrow, like next week, and whereas they know they come here.
Yes. Don't get me wrong. Not everybody has to want to be the best fighter in the world. Some people might just want to do it as a hobby, and that's fair enough. But even though they want to do it as a hobby, they still got to put the hours in and make sure they're capable of representing themselves and the team properly.
Do you have any? Yeah, it does. Yeah, no, I was going to say, do you ever have any fighters that, well, not fighters, but they come down, they train, and you say, do you want to compete? You got to a good level, and then they go, nah, I just want to keep training. So is it good to keep, like when you said, keep them going, so then when people are training for fights, you know that they can join in because they're at that level?
Yeah, there's a handful of guys at the moment who want to compete eventually, but we have conversations. I'll talk to them about the MMA side of things, Oggy will speak to them about the boxing side of things, Derek will speak to them about the judo and the takedowns, and we'll speak to them and they'll say, yeah, they want to fight eventually, but they know they're not ready to fight yet. Do you know what I mean? Or there might be guys, like we've got a guy who trains here who's a school teacher who don't want to fight because he don't want to walk around with black eyes, but they still like to train and compete in the gym with guys who are fighters, and it obviously helps the fighters because it means we've got more bodies for them to train with. It helps them guys because they're still able to train with people of a high standard, and yeah, it just creates a good atmosphere.
That guy sounds a cool teacher, I'll give you that. It sounds like that Warrior film when he comes out and he's just like...
He's a bit of a badass, yeah, old mess with
you. That'd have been good at my school, we all little rats who used to give it to the teachers, then just get him in a triangle choke and get his attention.
Yeah.
But well, that's all I've got to ask. Does anybody want to thank sponsors or anybody?
Yeah, obviously all my teammates, coaches and my sponsors, Monkey Nutrition and CrossDeck. Get on the website www.crossdeck.co.uk and monkeynutrition.co.uk.